Okay, so now that we have completed the domain name system server, that is the DNS server, now let us move on to the proxy server. A proxy server is basically a type of a server that handles its client machine requests by forwarding them onto other servers while allowing granular control over the traffic between the local area network and the internet. Now, when it receives a request, the proxy server will then connect to the specific server that can fulfill the request for the client that wants it. A proxy server operates at the application layer. So, a proxy server operates at the application layer. Well, that went far away. Let me just erase it and I'll try to draw a straight line this time. So, application layer. Okay, yeah, fine, that's it. Sometimes now the proxy server modifies the client's request or a server's response to it, or even it handles the client request itself. So it modifies the client request. Now, it will actually cache or remember the specific server that would have normally been contacted for the request. Now, basically, a proxy server helps in limiting the availability of sites that user can access. For example, let's say this is your machine, this is the proxy server, and you want to communicate through this server. Okay, this is the server. Now, what will proxy server do in this case is it will now, instead of forwarding the directly to request to this, what your machine using the proxy server does is first you transfer the request to the proxy server, and then the proxy server transfers the request to the main server. So it acts as in between. In case of ethical hacking also, proxy server plays an important role, because in ethical hacking we use a tool called as Burp Suite, which is actually a proxy modifier. It acts as a proxy, and instead of sending the request directly to the main server, the Burp Suite captures the request from the client, and then we can modify the request to test the vulnerabilities present in the direct server. Now make sure that there are three major types of proxy servers. So the first type is, okay, so let me choose the pen. Yeah, the first type is web proxy server. Now, a web proxy server is usually used to create a web cache. You experience this when you Google a site you have visited before, right? The web proxy remembers you, and the site not only loads faster, it sometimes even recalls your personal information by automatically filling in your username. You can try this. Just visit to amazon.in or amazon.com and fill your details and quit. And after some time, again try to visit the same site. The details get auto-filled. The next is caching proxy server. A caching proxy server is basically a server which speeds up the network's service requests by recovering information from a client's earlier request. Now, caching proxies keep local copies of the resources requested often, which really helps in minimizing the upstream use of bandwidth. These servers can greatly enhance the network performance. And finally, the last type of the proxy server is reverse proxy server. Now, I would like to mention one more thing about reverse proxy server is that unlike the forward proxy server, that is a normal proxy server, a reverse proxy takes requests from the internet and forwards them to servers in an internal network, whereas the forward proxy we discussed in this lecture takes client requests and then sends them to internet. Earlier I mentioned a tool called as Burp Suite. I guess you must have listened. Yeah. So Burp Suite acts as forward proxy as well as reverse proxy. Now, if you want to learn more about Burp Suite, do not forget to check our ethical hacking course and bug bounty courses, in which you'll gain complete knowledge of how to hunt bounties and earn rewards. My students have earned in thousands and dollars of rewards. Even I am a bug bounty hunter, but mostly I do as auditing this current, it will pass for 2 to 3 years. But yes, bug bounty hunting is a growing field. I've done a lot of bounties I've earned and helped clients. But yeah, again, not going far away from the subject, if you want to know more about proxy servers, how they are used in ethical hacking, do not forget to check our course. That's it for a proxy server. I hope you have a basic idea. So a proxy server is basically a server which acts as a middleman. Instead of trying to communicate directly to the main server, you communicate to the main server through a proxy server. Now in the next lecture, we are going to talk about encryption devices which are used in the internet network.